Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, I'm going to follow up on a couple different videos I made 6-7 months ago. Completely forgot that I intended to, but thankfully I made a calendar alert. So let's dive right into it. What are these videos and what do I have to follow up on? So the two videos I am following up on are I spent $100,000 in a week, this one right here, and then Pokemon Booster Box Investing, my thoughts. I will give the caveats, the disclaimers, which I did in the video before, and I think a lot of people mistook it for what I was actually talking about. But when I spent $100,000 in a week, that was not all on Ultra Modern Pokemon. That was not all on any one individual thing. I said right here in the description, and I kind of outlined it in the video. Most people don't go past the titles. Modern cases as discussed. The least amount of dollars went in there. Short to medium hold. Short to medium hold. I'm still holding all those. When I say short to medium, I mean, depending on what the prices do, maybe 1 month, maybe 5 years, 10 years, honestly. 10 years being medium term, people might think that's strange. When I say it, that's what I mean. Time horizon is obviously a personal thing relative to who you are, what your strategies are, and what game you're playing. That might vary. The WotC was a straight up flip. And so going back, I don't remember exactly what they were, but maybe I put around 40, 50,000 into Ultra Modern Sealed. I put about 40, 50,000 into WotC, and that was straight up flips. I mean, a base box, a base set 2 box, a Fossil first edition box, and a Jungle. I mean, I know base was around 15 at the time, Fossil and Jungle around 10 each, so you're at 35, little over 40 with base set 2, probably towards 50. So that was a lot more money. Well, a little bit more money than Modern was, least amount of money, then more money, and then most money. S&P 500, longest term time horizon. Hopefully life treats me well. A lot of that stuff is hopefully just inheritance, future inheritance for my kids to some extent. Maybe I have to live on it. Maybe I don't. Who knows? But that is hold forever, hold 40 plus years. That is going into tax advantage accounts. And that's a consideration that I'll talk about, kind of comparing and contrasting the returns of the two over the 6 months. Because the whole idea of this video is like, what won? I think the thumbnail that I had used was, yeah, who wins? It was the Charizard versus the Blastoise, Mew and Pikachu hanging out there. So who won? Who won 6 months later? Let's see. So in that video, the Pokemon Booster Box Investing, my thoughts, you can kind of see here. Maybe you can't see, maybe you can. I will have the TCG player charts to show you what the Silver Tempest, what a lot of the Sword and Shield era booster boxes did. Those were primarily what I was targeting. I talked in the past couple months about building the investment palette, and I've had that slant more because that's where some of my capital is going at the time. What this channel is what is Dan doing right now? And so what I'm doing is what I'm showing you. That's what I was doing 6 months ago. So first side, S&P 500 up 17%. I mean, if I had to tell you 6 months ago where I thought any of them would be, I mean, to be safe, I probably would have said the S&P 500 would be up approximately 5%, historically speaking. 10% per year on average. Very infrequently does it actually do 10% in a year or 5% in any given 6 months. Usually it's up 20%, down 10, down 15, down 30, up 50. Like, it's all over the place. And it averages out to be the 10. But just to be safe, just to be like mathematically what it approximates, I would have guessed this would have done about 5% in 6 months. It's done 17. So obviously I'm thrilled with that. One thing, the 401ks and the IRAs, if you're doing traditional, certain people do Roth. That could be a whole video on more of a finance channel. But Roth versus traditional, I've done both. I have some of both. Last year, 2023 was a great year for me. I made a lot of money in a higher tax bracket than I typically will be in my lifetime, in my earning career, I think. So when I'm in a higher income bracket than I normally would be on like top 10 percentile, top 20 percentile in my earning career, I tend to go towards traditional to save that higher marginal rate. When I'm in a lower one artificially, had kids, paid family leave, things like that, bad year for Pokemon. Maybe some year I'll have a bad year in Pokemon business and I'll do Roth IRA then when I'm in a lower marginal rate. But anyways, when I put in, I mean, I maxed out, and I've been teasing this video for months. I intended to almost do this video. I'm recording this before I go to Orlando Collecticon. I needed a quick hitting video that didn't take too much prep work because, yeah, I'm leaving in 2 days for Orlando and I have so much to do between now and then. But yeah, I'm recording this about 5 days before you see it, just so that I don't miss my Monday 1 o'clock thing, because I will be traveling back from Orlando still when this video goes live. But anyways, In a future video, I will get deeper into the tax buckets that I talked about in my recent video. And I will talk about what steps I'm in here that I talked about in my recent video. I will talk about how much money is involved in each one of these buckets for me personally. I will talk about the Catch 'em All Collectibles household average spending for the past several years. I will talk about, and what I'm getting to here is the 401ks, the IRAs, like what amount is that actually? I don't know if I disclosed it in the last video. I will definitely disclose it more in depth in the future video. But for today, let's just say it's approximately between mine and my wife's max IRAs, mine and my wife's max solo 401ks, employer match, everything. $60,000 to $70,000 is what we had put in there. And one thing that you get when you do traditional IRA, say my marginal tax rate between the self-employed, between FICA taxes, between state and federal taxes, might be 30-35%. So inputting, let's say it's $60,000. Inputting $60,000, that's pre-tax money. So I'm saving. I would have otherwise had to have paid nearly $20,000 in taxes on that. So right up front, basically at a cost of $40,000, here's a way you can look at it. I will be taxed on that in the future whenever I withdraw it. That's the way traditional works. But the way you can look at it is for the cost of only $40,000 today, I was able to put $60,000 in pre-tax. So you need to factor that in. When you compare $60,000 in the S&P 500 versus $40,000 in ultra-modern product, I mean, that's kind of apples to apples. Even though one amount is 50% more, that's the way the tax strategy works. Again, you can get kind of the same benefit if you're doing cash basis filing, buying your ultra-modern stuff. On the selling side, you're obviously going to have more fees with the ultra-modern product, with Pokemon product in general compared to the S&P 500. But there are strategies. There are strategies. There are ways to minimize things. There are ways to optimize and minimize everything when it comes to taxes. So that's something that I'm always constantly talking about, avoidance, not evasion. But here's just a couple funny things I wanted to throw in for the memes. I'm not invested in this. This is Shiba Inu coin. So 6 months, the general trend that I'm trying to show you, a lot of the returns that I got on that $100,000, $150,000, well, let's say it's $100,000 because it was $60,000 in the S&P 500 and it was $40,000 in ultra modern product. You could have put it anywhere. And 6 months later, I mean, Shiba Inu coin, complete meme coin about a dog, not Dogecoin, a different dog meme coin, up 200%. Bitcoin, I actually am invested in this. I do have some amount of this, up 200% nearly in the past 6 months. So me making 17% on the S&P 500, I mean, I think it's a wise investment over the long term, short term. I mean, more long term. I wouldn't put money that you're going to be using on a down payment on a house or for short term expenditures in the S&P 500 or anywhere like that. But over the long term, I think the S&P 500 is the greatest risk-adjusted return out there. Most passive, all that stuff. So, but getting 17% over 6 months, that's just luck. That's just what the market happened to do. If you were in Shiba Inu coin, you would have made 100% on your money. If you were in Bitcoin, you would have made 100% on your money. Let's get rid of those ones. What did I buy then? How did my Pokemon do comparatively? Again, 60,000 pre-tax went in. 40,000 went into ultra modern sealed approximately. Lost Origin. I don't remember exactly how much I bought of each one of these. I do have the record somewhere. I could have put it all together if I had more time. But 130 to 220 to 210, 220. I mean, it's showing right here. Low list is 220. Market price is showing 224. I think I'm covering that up. Recent sales 220 plus shipping. So minus fees, all that stuff. If you sell locally, if you sell to a streamer, find someone like me to sell to, pay you 95% on certain things. I did not pay 95% on much. I had so many people reach out. I was paying 80% on more stuff, but that's about what you'd get after all your fees and this and that. So obviously you'd have to knock off 10 to 20% depending on what platform, what means by which you're selling. But even if you knock 10% off this, take it down to 200, 120, 130 to 200. I mean, obviously that's going up 40% or so. That's going up significantly more than the S&P 500 did. Silver Tempest, you've got what? You've got 120-ish. I was actually able to buy that through my distributor at the time of recording the 6 months ago video. And now it's at like 162. I think this is the one that's still hanging out in the Pokemon Center, $4 maximum. But yeah, again, you're up 20+%. Brilliant Stars. And part of the reason that I bought it with intent to hold it short to medium term was because I thought it would make money. I thought it would do well. This is not me saying, look how right I was. I'm going to be right on everything. A large amount of this was luck. I mean, some people will tell you they knew this was going to happen to these specific boxes, these specific percentages. And it's like, well, I'm glad you made $5 million then over the past 6 months. Well, I only made, I mean, say I put in, again, 40 grand into the booster boxes. Say I made 10, 20 grand. I mean, depending on what the ratio was for some of these. Like, I think I have, Evolving Skies here. This went from 400 to 600 towards 700. I mean, this one went up 50%. So if I'd put it all into Evolving Skies, I would have made 20 grand on my 40 grand, right? Absolutely way exceeding expectations across the board. I mean, what S&P 500 did, what Bitcoin did, even though I didn't include that in that video there, what all these Sword and Shield booster boxes did, just blew my expectations out of the water. I'm not selling any of these right now. Cash flow considerations, I will talk about it more in my budget video, Catch 'em all collectibles, household spending, because ultimately, again, what I do, what you do, personal finance, it's all very personal. And I don't need the cash flow in my personal life right now. Once I have my buckets filled, I just continue on down the line. And if everything's good, if everything's looking cozy, all the tax buckets are filled, I don't need to extract more money out of my business at this time. So yeah, this is just a quick six month recap. I figured it was a quick, interesting video that I could go kind of in hindsight. I normally don't do, here's all the TCG player charts, line went up, but that one I did actually have in my calendar. 6 months later, revisit it, see which one won. I would say on paper, obviously, the Pokemon, well, crypto crushed Pokemon. So I made that video a couple weeks ago where I talked about if backtesting is all we're talking about, why not go for crypto? I mean, it's proven itself time and time again, or at least over the past 10 years, as long as it's been around, 15 years. This is not me advocating for you doing that. Everyone has a different situation, yada, yada. But if all we're after is what's done the best via backtesting, crypto is crushing Pokemon Sealed. Pokemon Sealed is beating the S&P 500, depending the time horizons you pick it over, depending tax, selling fees, this, that. But as I always say, we're all in the same arena, playing very different games with very different rules. Opportunity cost is a massive thing. I will, for an upcoming video, the budget, household spending, that one will come within the next month. Another one, so two more finance slanted videos. But my personal finances highly have an effect on my personal, like my business. If my business fails to make the amount of money, throw off the amount of income that I need it to satisfy my personal finance goals, not even goals, like requirements. I have hard requirements. When I quit my job to do this full time, I said, Dan, you are going to max out all your tax buckets, or you're going to have to go back to the workforce. You're going to have to go back and do something else. You're going to have to figure something else out. So yeah, personal finance, it will be personal finance slanted, but it's still relevant to the business, because if those numbers, if those boxes don't get checked, I'm updating my resume and I'm going back to work. I don't think I'm at risk of having to do that anytime soon, but yeah, it'll be a fun video, at least for me. It will be a fun video to take this personal income spending flowchart and show you what my personal one is. I would highly advise anyone and everyone to, I mean, not get too much time spent on this, but I think a lot of people, and I'll save it more for a future video and I'll wrap up here. I think a lot of people just very unconsciously swipe that credit card, spend money left and right without considering. I mean, money is just a tool. Money doesn't buy happiness, but not having any money, not having the amount of money you need to get by really can bring unhappiness. So money is a tool, and I think a lot of people are just improperly using it. I think a lot of people aren't consciously thinking of what is the optimal way to manage their finances. Again, we'll save that more for a future video, but I am returning from Orlando Collecticon. I will have Pokeflips later this week with Nick, Old School Pokemon. We will probably be starting later. It's getting to be that season, zoo season. I will be out on a field trip with my son, my family, taking my daughter to go visit my son and my wife on a field trip at the zoo. So we'll probably be starting Pokeflips. Just stay tuned to watch when that gets scheduled. But I think maybe 2:30 p.m. do a little abbreviated one with myself and Nick since we had Mr. Walrus on last episode, last live stream. So yeah, PokeFlips will be this Friday, the 31st at 2:30 p.m. approximately. And I will have those finance geared videos. In the next month, you will get my personal spending flowchart, and you will get my household income, all those considerations, and how that ties into my business. So yeah, hope everyone is looking forward to that as I am. I kind of assume most people aren't looking as forward to it as much as I am. But in either case, I will catch you all later.